I'm standing in the doorway of room 412 at St. Luke's Mercy Hospital in Cedar Ridge, Iowa, watching my only son fight for every breath through a tube taped to his mouth. The monitor above the bed keeps its steady mechanical heartbeat. Beep, 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 like a metronome counting down to something I can't name yet. It's 3:17 in the morning, October 28th, and the fluorescent lights feel colder than the wind outside. David is 38 years old, 6'2", broad through the shoulders the way his mother was narrow, same stubborn cowlick at the crown of his head that I've had since Korea. Right now he looks small under the thin blanket, skin the color of old paper, lips tinged blue even with the oxygen. The nurse told me his blood pressure bottomed out twice on the way in. Tox screens still pending, no trauma, no drugs they can find yet. Just sudden violent collapse at his desk at Morrison Lang Foods, the company my father started in 1948 with a single grain silo and a handshake. I should be crying. Instead, I'm cataloging details the way I did for 32 years as chief of police in this county. The way the IV bag hangs a little too low on the pole, the faint scuff marks on the linoleum near the foot of the bed, like someone dragged a chair in a hurry and then thought better of it. The fact that my daughter-in-law, Claire, hasn't once looked directly at David since I arrived. She's standing by the window now, arms folded tight under the camel trench coat she wore to the gala last week. Hair still perfect, makeup untouched. She looks like she's waiting for an Uber, not for her husband to wake up. "Bill," she says without turning around. Her voice is soft, cultured, the kind of voice that closes deals in glass conference rooms 40 minutes away in Des Moines. "You didn't have to drive all the way from the lake house tonight. I would have called if anything changed." I don't answer right away. I'm watching the pulse ox number flicker. 91, 90, 92. I'm watching the way Claire's thumbnail digs into the opposite wrist. The only sign she's feeling anything at all. I was already awake, I tell her. It's true. I haven't slept through the night since David's mother died 8 years ago. Old men and old cops don't need much sleep. We just need reasons to stay awake. She finally turns, green eyes sharp as winter wheat. They think it might be some kind of poisoning, environmental maybe, something at the plant. She says it like she's reading from a press release she's already written in her head. I nod, slow. Funny. David's office is on the 12th floor. No grain dust up there. No chemicals. A flicker across her face. Gone before I can name it. The door opens and Dr. Patel steps in. Young, tired, clipboard clutched like a shield. He glances at Claire, then at me, and I see the hesitation. Everyone in this county still knows who I am. 32 years wearing the star. 20 grand juries. Never lost a murder case I brought to trial. "Mr. Morrison," he starts, then corrects himself. "Chief Morrison, just Bill tonight, Doc." He nods. We're still waiting on the full tox panel from Iowa City. But his liver enzymes are through the roof, kidneys failing. Whatever this is, it's fast-acting and aggressive. We've started chelation therapy and hemodialysis just in case it's heavy metal. Claire steps forward. "How long until we know?" 6 to 8 hours, maybe less. Dr. Patel looks at me again. "There's something else. Security brought me the cup he was drinking from when he collapsed. Coffee, looks like. We sent it to the lab, too." Claire's head snaps toward him. "A cup? From the office?" "Yes, ma'am." His assistant found it on the desk, still half full. I feel it then, the old tightening in my chest, the same feeling I used to get walking into a house where the wife swore her husband just fell down the stairs. The room tilts a few degrees like the floor remembers who I used to be and wants me back on the job. Claire recovers first. David keeps those disgusting energy shots in his drawer. Maybe he mixed something wrong. Dr. Patel hesitates. We'll know soon. After he leaves, the silence stretches until it's brittle. Outside the window, the parking lot lights buzz sodium orange against the frost. Claire walks to the bedside finally and touches David's hand. 1 second, 2. Then she lets go like the skin burned her. "I should call the board," she says. "Let them know he's..." Stable, for now. She steps into the hallway to make the call. The door sighs shut behind her. That's when I move. I've still got the hands of a man who used to cuff drunk drivers twice my size. I slip on the nitrile gloves I lifted from the cart outside the door. Old habit. And I pick up the plastic water pitcher on the rolling tray. Inside, a faint brown ring circles the bottom. Coffee, maybe. Or tea. I lift it to my nose. Almond. Faint, but there. David is allergic to almonds. Deathly. Has been since he was 7. We don't keep almond anything in the lake house. Haven't for 30 years. I set the pitcher down exactly as it was. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Unknown number. I step into the bathroom and answer. Bill Morrison? The voice is low, Midwestern, familiar in a way I can't place yet. Speaking. You don't know me, but I worked for your father back in '89. Name's Harlan Weeks. I'm head of maintenance over at the plant now. A pause. There's something you need to see. About what happened to David. I keep my voice flat. I'm listening. Not on the phone. Tomorrow. Old warehouse on River Road. Midnight. Come alone. The line goes dead. I stare at my reflection in the dark mirror. Gray hair, gray stubble, eyes that have seen too many lies. Claire's voice drifts in from the hallway, calm and corporate, already shaping the narrative for the board. I hear the word tragic 3 times. I look back at my son. Tubes and wires and the soft, mechanical wheeze of the ventilator. He chose her 10 years ago over Sunday dinners at the lake, over my warnings that she smiled like a woman who always knew where the exits were. I told myself love makes fools of good men. I told myself it wasn't my business. I was wrong. I lean close to David's ear, the way I used to when he had nightmares as a boy. I'm here, son, I whisper, and I'm not leaving until I know who did this to you. The monitor keeps its steady rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. But for the first time tonight, it sounds less like a countdown and more like a warning. I pull the small evidence bag from my coat pocket, the one I've carried since the day I turned in my badge, and carefully slide the plastic liner from the wastebasket into it. Coffee grounds, a few undissolved crystals catching the light. I seal it, label it with the date and time in black Sharpie the way I taught every rookie who ever rode with me. Then I sit in the vinyl chair beside the bed, loosen my tie, and wait for morning. Because 32 years on the job taught me one thing above all others. The people who poison their spouses don't just do it once. They get better at it the second time. And I'm not about to give Claire Lang Morrison a second chance. The clock above the nurse's station reads 5:49 a.m. when I finally leave David's room to find coffee that doesn't taste like burnt rubber. My knees pop like gunfire when I stand. Old football injury from '75, the one that ended any dream I had of playing past high school. Funny how the things pain reminds you of when you're too tired to filter them out. The hallway is quiet, except for the squeak of soft-soled shoes and the occasional cough of a ventilator down the row. I know this floor by heart. I sat vigil here when Ellen was dying of the cancer that took her fast and mean fast. Same linoleum, same faint smell of bleach and fear. Some things in Cedar Ridge never change. I'm halfway to the elevator when I see her. Claire is standing at the far end of the corridor, backlit by the vending machine glow. Phone pressed to her ear. She thinks she's alone. She's wrong. I step into the alcove by the ice machine, out of sight. 30 years of sneaking up on meth cooks in cornfields makes a man quiet when he wants to be. Yes, I understand the timing is unfortunate, she's saying, voice low but crisp, the way she talks to investors. But the succession plan is clear. If David is incapacitated for more than 30 consecutive days, acting CEO authority transfers to me automatically. It's in the bylaws, page 47. A pause. Whoever's on the other end is talking fast. I can't make out words, just urgency. No, Claire says, sharper now. We are not delaying the vote. The Tokyo deal closes in 9 days. If We show weakness now. They walk. David would want the company protected. She listens again, then laughs, actually laughs, a small, brittle sound. Harlan, please. Your maintenance. Stick to fixing conveyor belts. Leave the grown-up decisions to the people who went to Wharton. Harlan. The name from the phone call slams into me like a fist. Harlan Weeks. The man who wants to meet me at midnight. Claire ends the call, pockets the phone, and smooths her hair, even though not a strand is out of place. Then she walks past my hiding spot without seeing me, heels clicking like a metronome, counting down someone else's life. I wait 10 full seconds before I follow. She doesn't go back to David's room. She takes the stairs down to the parking garage. I watch through the small window in the stairwell door and watch her get into the black Audi Q8. David gave her for their 8th anniversary. Engine purrs to life. Taillights disappear up the ramp. It's not even 6 in the morning, and my daughter-in-law is leaving her comatose husband to go protect the company. I head back upstairs, slower this time, thinking. David's room is dim. The machines still doing their patient work. I pull the chair closer, sit, and take his hand. It's cool, but not cold. I squeeze once. No response, but I didn't expect one. I just needed to feel the pulse in his wrist. Proof he's still fighting. My phone vibrates. Unknown number again. I step into the bathroom and answer. Change of plans, Harlan Weeks rasps. He sounds like a 2-pack-a-day man. Can't do midnight. Too many eyes. Meet me at the old grain elevator on County Road 9. 7:30 tonight. Park behind the scale house. Knock twice. Wait. Knock 3 times. Why the change? I keep my voice low. Because your daughter-in-law just put a tail on me, Chief. Black Suburban, tinted windows. Been following me since I left the plant. I'm not paranoid. She's covering tracks. I feel the old anger rise, the kind that used to scare rookies. What tracks, Harlan? A long exhale. Ones that lead straight to whatever's killing your boy. Bring a flashlight, and come alone. He hangs up. I stare at the phone a long moment, then slide it back in my pocket. When I come out of the bathroom, there's a new nurse at David's bedside, adjusting the drip. Young, maybe 25. Ponytail, name tag says K. Larson. She startles when she sees me. Sorry, Mr. Morrison, just increasing the fluids. I nod. You new on this floor? 3rd week. She offers a tired smile. Your son's lucky to have you here. Lucky? Right. I watch her hands as she works. Steady. No tremor. She checks the catheter, smooths the blanket, then hesitates. Sir, I probably shouldn't say anything, but... She glances at the door. Mrs. Morrison, Claire. She was in here about an hour ago, before you got back from the cafeteria. My skin prickles. Doing what? She asked me to increase the morphine drip. Said David was in pain, but the orders haven't changed since yesterday. I told her I couldn't without Dr. Patel's okay. The girl swallows. She got upset. Said she'd have my job if I didn't do what family asked. I keep my face neutral. Did you increase it? No, sir, I paged Dr. Patel. He confirmed. No change. Good kid. What's your first name? K. Larson? Katie. Katie, you did right. If Claire comes back and asks for anything at all, you call me first. Here. I write my cell on the back of an old business card that still says Chief William Morrison, Cedar Ridge, PD. I cross out the old precinct number and write my personal one underneath. She tucks it in her pocket like it's gold. After she leaves, I sit again and open the bedside drawer. David's wallet, watch, wedding ring in a plastic bag. I slip the ring out. Plain platinum, scratched from years of honest work. Inside, the engraving. C&D, 9/14/13. I turn it over in my palm and something catches the light. A hairline crack along the inner band. Not a scratch. A split, like it was pried off and put back on in a hurry. I bag the ring, too. At 7:12 a.m., Dr. Patel returns with the first round of labs. Chief Bill, he corrects himself again. We've got something. He shows me the tablet. Numbers in red. Thallium, high levels. Rat poison, basically. Old school. Colorless, odorless, accumulates over weeks. Explains the hair loss, the neuropathy, the organ failure. I stare at the screen until the numbers blur. How long would it take to build up to this level? Chronic exposure. 4 to 6 weeks minimum. Someone's been dosing them slowly. 4 to 6 weeks. I think of Sunday dinners Claire insisted on hosting at their house on the hill. The special herbal tea she brewed for David. For stress, she said. The way he started looking tired all the time, complaining his hands tingled. I thought it was the long hours, the Tokyo deal. I was wrong again. Dr. Patel lowers his voice. Police will need to be notified. This is attempted murder. They already are? I say. He looks surprised. I used to be the police. I leave him standing there and walk to the window. Dawn is breaking pale pink over the frost-covered fields. Somewhere out there, Claire is probably in a boardroom, smiling that perfect smile while my son dies by teaspoons. My phone buzzes. Text from a number I don't recognize. Unknown. Tell no one about tonight. She's watching the only one who benefits if he never wakes up. I don't reply. I just look back at David. My boy who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during Sunday drives, who cried when his goldfish died, who believed people were mostly good because I told him they were. And I make him the only promise that matters. I'm going to burn it all down if I have to, son, but you're coming home. Outside, the sun clears the horizon, and the machines keep their faithful rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. But now every beat sounds like a countdown. I intend to stop. I leave the hospital at 9:42 a.m., with 2 plastic evidence bags in the inside pocket of my coat, and a rage so cold it feels like January in my chest. The drive to the lake house takes 27 minutes if you obey the speed limit. I make it in 19. The place is exactly as Ellen left it. Cedar siding gone silver. Wind chimes on the porch that still play the same 3 notes she loved. Inside smells faintly of wood smoke and the lemon oil she used on the oak table. I haven't changed a thing in 8 years. Couldn't bring myself to. I go straight to the gun safe in the den, spin the dial out of habit, her birthday, and pull out the old steel lockbox I kept off book, even when I wore the badge. Inside, spare cuffs, a Kel-Tec 32 I never registered, and the leather notebook I carried for 32 years. The pages are warped from sweat and rain and coffee spills, but the writing is still mine. Small, precise, impossible to mistake. I start a fresh page. 10:29. Subject, David Morrison, suspect. Number 1. Claire Lang Morrison. Motive, control of Morrison Lang Foods. Estimated value, 180. Scientist to personal life insurance, double indemnity clause. Method, chronic thallium sulfate poisoning, confirmed St. Luke's tox, 7:12 a.m. Opportunity, daily access, domestic plus corporate I write until my hand cramps, listing every discrepancy I've seen in the last 12 hours. The almond scent in the pitcher, the cracked wedding ring, Claire's 5:49 a.m. conversation with Harlan, the morphine request, the tail on Harlan's truck. When I'm done, I tear the page out, fold it once, and slide it into the evidence bag with the coffee grounds and the ring. Then I photograph everything with my phone, time-stamped, and email the files to an address only 3 people in the world know. Mine, the county prosecutor's private Gmail, and the retired Iowa DCI agent who owes me his life twice over. Old habits. Never trust the cloud alone. At 11:05, I'm back in the truck, heading to the company headquarters on the edge of town. Morrison Lang Foods sprawls across 40 acres of what used to be my grandfather's cornfield. The sign still reads, Morrison Lang in the same green letters, but now there's a glass tower grafted onto the old brick, like a parasite. I park in visitor parking and badge in with the retired chief courtesy card they never took away from me. Security knows better than to ask questions. The 12th floor smells like money and lemon disinfectant. David's office door is sealed with a single strip of yellow tape. Crime scene courtesy of the sheriff's office, who finally woke up when the hospital used the word thallium. I duck under it. Everything is exactly as he left it when he collapsed yesterday afternoon. Coffee cup gone, Lab. But the faint ring is still there on the mahogany. His Mont Blanc pen lies at an angle he would never allow, papers scattered like someone rifled through them in a hurry. I sit in his chair. It's too high. Claire had it adjusted for her height when she started helping with the Tokyo negotiations. I lower it back to David's setting and open the bottom drawer. Locked. I pull the spare key from the magnetic box I glued under the desk in 2019, the day David made president, and I told him some doors should stay locked, even from family. Inside, a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle he was saving for the Tokyo closing, a framed photo of him and Ellen at his college graduation, and a flash drive labeled Personal DPM. I pocket the drive. The computer is password protected, but I watched him type it 100 times when he thought I wasn't looking. Ellen's birthday plus the year we buried her. The screen wakes instantly. I go straight to the sent mail folder. There it is. From David Morrison, morrisonlang.com to Claire Lane, morrisonlang.com. Date, October 14th, 11:47 p.m. Subject, we need to talk when I get back. Claire, I've been going through the Q3 numbers with accounting. There are transfers I didn't authorize. 2.4 to an offshore account in the Caymans. The signature on the wire instructions is mine, but I didn't sign it. We both know my handwriting. I'm flying back early tomorrow. I want an explanation before this goes to the board. David, I read it 3 times. The timestamp means he sent it the night before he collapsed. Claire would have seen it immediately. She lives on her phone. There's no reply in the chain. I forward the email to my private account, delete the evidence from sent items, and shut the machine down. As I stand to leave, the elevator dings. I step behind the half-open door just as Claire walks in with 2 men in $5,000 suits I don't recognize. One has a manila folder thick enough to choke a horse. The vote is scheduled for November 6th, she's saying. By then the doctors will have no choice but to declare him persistently vegetative. The bylaws are explicit, the taller suit nods. And the insurance carrier? Already retained counsel. Double indemnity requires accidental death, not illness. We argue the thallium was industrial exposure. The plant's old storage units still have rat bait from the 80s. Tragic accident. My blood turns to ice water. The second suit opens the folder. We'll need your signature on the amended proxy vote. Once you're acting CEO, we move the Tokyo closing forward and freeze David's shares. Claire doesn't hesitate. She takes the Mont Blanc from David's desk, the same one that was lying crooked a minute ago, and signs 3 separate documents without reading them. I watch her loop the L in Lang the way she has since college. Elegant, controlled, lethal. When they leave, I wait a full 5 minutes, then take the stairs down 12 flights. My knees scream the whole way. At 12:37 p.m., I'm in the county clerk's office downtown. Marlene behind the counter has worked there since Reagan. She doesn't blink when I ask why I need the last 6 months of filings for Morrison Lang Foods. Takes her 4 minutes to pull them. I sit in the truck and read. October 10th. Amended bylaws filed. Succession clause changed. Previously required board vote. Now automatic transfer to next officer in line after 30 days incapacity. Signed, Claire Lang Morrison, Corporate Secretary. October 17th. Life insurance beneficiary. Change request. From estate of David P. Morrison to Claire Lang Morrison, sole beneficiary. Notarized by a notary I've never heard of in Des Moines. Signature again, Claire's. October 24th. Offshore LLC formed in the Caymans. Lang Capital Partners. Sole officer, C. Lang Morrison. Every move clean, legal, and lethal. I drive to the sheriff's office next. Tom Halverson has been sheriff since I retired. Good man. Owes me for keeping his brother's DUI quiet 20 years ago. He meets me in the parking lot so no one sees me come in. Bill, he says, hat in hand. Hospital called it in. We're treating David's case as attempted homicide. But Claire's already lawyered up. Best firm in Des Moines. They're screaming industrial accident. and threatening to sue the department if we harass the grieving wife. I hand him the evidence bags, the flash drive, the printed emails, the county filings. Then don't harass, I say. Arrest. He looks at the stack like it's radioactive. This is enough for a warrant. It's enough for 3, but you'll never get in the house. She's too smart. Wait. He nods slowly. What are you going to do? I look toward the horizon where the grain elevators stand like sentinels against the gray sky. I've got a meeting tonight, I tell him. After that, we won't need a warrant. I'm back at the hospital by 4:15 p.m. David's numbers are holding, barely. Katie the nurse meets me at the door, eyes red. She was here again, Katie whispers. Tried to get the night charge nurse to sign off on a new order. Something called succinylcholine. I looked it up. It paralyzes the lungs. Looks like respiratory failure from the poisoning. I feel the world tilt. Did they give it? No. Charge nurse refused. Called Dr. Patel. Claire left in a hurry. I squeeze Katie's shoulder. You're saving his life, kid. Keep doing it. At 6:58 p.m., I'm parked behind the abandoned scale house on County Road 9. The grain elevator looms against the bruised October sky like a rusted cathedral. Wind cuts through my coat. I leave the truck running, headlights off, and walk the last 100 yards with the flashlight in my left hand and the .32 in my right pocket. A Harlan Weeks is waiting in the shadows, cigarette ember glowing. Thought you might not come, he says. Start talking. He drops the cigarette, grinds it under his boot. Your daughter-in-law paid me 20 grand to swap out the old rat bait in the executive break room. Said it was a prank on David for April Fools. Only it was October. I thought it was weird, but 20 grand buys a lot of silence when your wife's chemo bills are due. I don't speak. I just wait. He reaches into his coat and pulls out a small glass vial with a faded skull and crossbones label. Thallium sulfate, 99% pure. Enough in here to kill half the county. She told me to keep the rest. Said there might be future pest problems. He hands it to me like it burns his fingers. Harlan, I say quietly, you're going to give a statement to Sheriff Halverson tomorrow morning. Full immunity if you testify. He nods, eyes wet. There's more, he whispers. Tonight, midnight, she's meeting someone out here. Same place. Said it's time to finish the pest problem permanently. I look at the dark windows of the elevator. Midnight. I smile for the first time in 2 days. Then let's not keep the lady waiting. They moved David to a private room on the 5th floor at 6:03 a.m., the kind with real windows and a door that locks from the inside. 2 uniformed deputies sit outside it now, rotating every 8 hours. Tom Halvorson's orders. Claire is in the county's most high-profile prisoner since the meth ring preacher in '09. And nobody wants a headline that says, Murder Suspect's Husband Dies in Custody. I haven't left the hospital since the arrest, 41 hours without sleep. My eyes feel like sandpaper, but every time I close them, I see Claire's face in the floodlights. Calm, almost amused, like she'd already calculated how long it would take her lawyers to spring her. At 7:22 a.m., my phone buzzes on the rolling tray. Unknown number, Des Moines, area code. I step into the hallway to answer. Mr. Morrison, Chief Morrison? Female voice, young, nervous. This is Jenna Alvarez. I was Claire's executive assistant. I lean against the wall. Go on, Jenna. I'm at the federal building downtown. The FBI picked me up at my apartment an hour ago. They're offering immunity if I cooperate. A shaky breath. I want to cooperate, but I need to know David's going to be okay first. He's fighting, I tell her. They started chelation last night. Kidneys are responding. She exhales like someone just took a weight off her chest. There's a safe deposit box. Wells Fargo on University, box 1873. Claire made me rent it under my name last year. Said it was for sensitive Tokyo documents. I have the key. I've never opened it. I swear. I close my eyes. You still have the key? In my purse. Agents are waiting for me to decide. Tell them you'll surrender it voluntarily. Ask for Agent Maria Delgado. Financial crimes. She's expecting it. A pause. How do you know that? Because I called her at 4 this morning and told her, "You'd be calling." Jenna laughs once, a small, broken sound. Okay, I'm doing it. Jenna, I say before she hangs up, you're doing the right thing. I know, she whispers. I just didn't know how to do it until now. The line goes dead. At 9:17 a.m., Agent Delgado herself texts me a photo. A metal drawer pulled open, stacks of bearer bonds, a passport in the name Claire Elizabeth Long with a different birth date, and 3 flash drives labeled only with dates. The last item, a leather-bound ledger the size of a pocket Bible. Delgado's next text. You're going to want to see this in person. Conference room 4B, 1 p.m. I kiss David's forehead, tell the deputy I'll be back by supper, and drive downtown with the windows down so the cold keeps me awake. The federal building smells like burnt coffee and fear. Delgado meets me in the lobby, no-nonsense haircut, eyes that have seen worse than me on no sleep. Coffee? She asks. Intravenously, if you've got it. She almost smiles. Conference room 4B has a table long enough to land a plane on. Jenna sits at the far end, pale, clutching a styrofoam cup like a life raft. The ledgers open in front of Delgado. Miss Alvarez has been very helpful, Delgado says. But this, she taps the ledger, is the Rosetta Stone. I sit. The pages are filled with Claire's handwriting, neat columns, dates, dollar amounts, initials. It starts 3 years ago. What's 20? DPM physical 18400 Dr. Weber 081922. Policy increase approved 12 months 20 million double indemnity 111122. Thallium source located 62K. Belarus contacts 21423. MR recruited 500K plus 8% equity 093024. Begin low dose protocol DPM T blend. Every betrayal dated and priced like inventory. I flip to the most recent page. 102825. Final transfer. Lang Capital Partners 9.8. 102925. Contingency KCL MR to deliver 110625. Board vote. Acting CEO 1250 to 25. Emma to La Rosie Academy. Gustad. Enter in 84K. My vision tunnels. I have to grip the table to stay upright. Delgado's voice is gentle. There's more. The Belarus contact, former Spetsnaz chemist, we already have Interpol looking, and the doctor who signed David's fake physical for the insurance increase, retired to Costa Rica last month. Sudden wealth. Jenna speaks for the first time. She kept audio files, too. On the drives, conversations with Marcus, with the insurance broker, with me. Delgado slides a tablet across the table, hits play. Claire's voice, cold and amused. If David ever finds the offshore accounts, we move to Plan B forward. Jenna will testify he'd been despondent, talking suicide. The thallium looks like self-poisoning if you stage it right. Another clip, dated 2 weeks ago. Once the double indemnity pays, we dissolve the Caymans LLC, buy the vineyard in Mendoza. New names, new life. I close the tablet. How long until she's out on bail? I ask. Delgado's jaw tightens. Hearings at 3. Her attorneys are asking for house arrest with ankle monitor. Judge Granger owes the firm a favor. I nod once. Then we don't have much time. At 2:47 p.m., I'm standing outside the county courthouse with Tom Halverson and Agent Delgado when Claire walks out in a navy suit, hair perfect, smiling for the cameras like she's launching a new product line. The ankle monitor is hidden under tailored wool slacks. She spots me across the plaza and walks straight over. "Bill," she says, soft as ever, "I forgive you for last night. Grief makes us all do desperate things." I don't answer. She leans in, perfume the same one Ellen used to wear. A cruelty I didn't expect. Tell David I love him when he wakes up. He won't hear it from you again, I say. Her smile doesn't waver. We'll see. She walks away flanked by attorneys, cameras flashing like lightning. Tom mutters, "That woman's got ice in her veins." "No," I answer. "She's got fire. She just hasn't realized the house is already burning." At 4:10 p.m., I'm back in David's new room. The deputies nod me through. He looks different in daylight, color coming back. The Prussian blue has turned his sweat, faintly turquoise, a good sign. Kidneys working. I sit and open the ledger to the last blank page. I write in my own handwriting, big block letters she'll see if she ever gets her hands on it again. You miscalculated one thing, Claire. David isn't the only Morrison who knows how to finish what he starts. I tear the page out, fold it, and slide it into the evidence envelope with everything else. At 5:55 p.m., Dr. Patel comes in with fresh scans. Liver function almost normal, he says, wonder in his voice. Neurology says the swelling's down. We're taking him off the ventilator tomorrow if this holds. I nod, throat too tight to speak. Patel hesitates. There's someone here to see him. Says she's family. Katie Larson steps in, off duty now, still in scrubs under her coat, holding a small stuffed bear. I hope it's okay, she says. My little brother had leukemia when we were kids. This bear sat with him every night. Thought maybe David could borrow him for luck. I take the bear and set it gently against David's side. Thank you, Katie. She smiles, eyes shining. Tell him when he wakes up the bear's name is Chief. Seemed fitting. After she leaves, I lean close to David's ear again. They're all gone now, son. The poison's leaving your body. The people who put it there are never coming back. You just keep fighting. I've got the rest. His fingers twitch again, stronger this time. Then his whole hand closes around mine, weak but deliberate. I stay like that until the sun sets and the machines keep their steady, stubborn rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. Only now it sounds like a promise being kept. The hospital lets me sleep in the recliner beside David's bed now. They even brought me a real pillow and a blanket that doesn't smell like bleach. I wake at 4:11 a.m. with the taste of metal in my mouth and the certainty that something is wrong. The deputy outside the door is new, young. Name tag says C. Olson. He's slumped in the chair, chin on chest, snoring softly. I'm on my feet before I'm fully awake. The door to David's room is cracked open 6 inches. It was closed when I dozed off. I draw the .32 from my waistband and move. The room is dark except for the green glow of the monitors. David's chest rises and falls steady, but there's a new IV bag hanging on the pole. Clear fluid, no label. The line runs straight into the port in his neck. I smell it before I see her. Claire's perfume, the one that used to be Ellen's. She's standing on the far side of the bed in navy scrubs, 2 sizes too big. Hair tucked under a surgical cap. Gloved hands adjusting the drip regulator. The ankle monitor is gone, cut clean off. She doesn't look up when I step in. You should have stayed asleep, Bill. My voice comes out flat. Step away from my son. She finally meets my eyes. Potassium chloride again. Faster this time. He'll be gone in 4 minutes. Heart just stops. They'll blame the thallium damage. Tragic complication. She increases the drip. The bag gurgles. I raise the gun. I will shoot you, Claire. I swear on my wife's grave. She smiles the same smile she used at Thanksgiving when she told David the cranberry sauce was homemade. You won't. Not in a hospital. Not with cameras. I flick the safety off. The click is loud in the quiet. Try me. For the first time, something like fear flickers across her face. Then the door behind me bangs open. Deputy Olson staggers in, face bloody, radio crackling. She had a taser! Claire lunges for the call button. I move faster, slam her wrist against the bed rail. The regulator snaps off in her hand. Clear fluid sprays across the sheets. David groans. First sound he's made in weeks. Claire twists like a snake. Drives her knee into my thigh. Old football injury screams. I go down hard, shoulder hitting the floor. The gun skitters under the bed. She's over me in a heartbeat. Surgical scissors from the tray pressed to my throat. You should have finished you at the lake house last winter, she hisses. Carbon monoxide. So easy. Everyone would have blamed the old furnace. The scissors bite skin. Warm blood trickles. Then Katie Larson is in the doorway, frozen, holding a breakfast tray. Her eyes go from Claire to me to David. Claire sees her and smiles again. Perfect timing, nurse. Your patient coded. I was performing CPR when his father attacked me. Katie doesn't move. Claire presses harder. Drop the tray and help, or I open his carotid right now. Katie lets the tray fall. Orange juice splashes across the linoleum. But instead of coming to Claire, she lunges for the red crash button on the wall and slams it with her palm. Alarms scream. Code blue, room 512. Code blue. Claire curses and shoves me away, bolts for the door. I grab her ankle. She goes down hard, scissors clattering. We grapple like animals. She's stronger than she looks. Nails raking my face, knee driving for my groin. Footsteps thunder in the hallway. Security. Nurses. The cavalry. Claire realizes it the same second I do. She scrambles up, grabs the potassium bag, and hurls it at the window. Glass explodes outward. 5th floor. She's gonna jump. I tackle her around the waist. We crash into the rolling tray. Monitors tip. David's IV rips free. Blood sprays the wall. She's clawing for the window ledge when Tom Halverson barrels in with 2 deputies. Guns drawn. Claire Lang Morrison, step back from the window! She looks at Tom, at me, at the shattered glass, and the 30-foot drop to the parking lot. For the first time, the mask is completely gone. Just raw, cornered hatred. You'll never keep me away from what's mine, she spits. Tom moves in. She backs up until her heels are on the sill. I stand slowly, blood dripping from my nose, and say the only thing that matters. David's awake. She freezes. I step aside so she can see the bed. David's eyes are open, confused, terrified, but open. He's trying to speak around the tube they reinserted when the alarms went off. Claire makes a sound, like a wounded animal. Tom cuffs her while she stares at her husband. No performance now, just defeat. As they drag her past David's bed, he manages one rasping word. Why? Claire doesn't answer. She can't. The fight has gone out of her like air from a punctured lung. They take her out in zip ties this time. No bail hearing on earth will spring her now. Katie is on her knees beside me, pressing gauze to my throat. You're okay, she keeps saying, voice shaking. I look at David. He's crying silently, tears cutting tracks through the dried blood on his cheeks. I crawl to the bed, take his hand. I've got you, son. It's over. He squeezes once, hard. At 5:47 a.m., the sun comes up over the frost-covered fields, painting the broken window gold. The machines are quiet now. No more alarms. Just the sound of my boy breathing on his own. They keep David sedated for the next 36 hours, so his lungs can heal from the second intubation. I don't leave the room except to piss and to let Katie change the bandages on my neck and face, where Claire's scissors kissed me. The mirror tells me I look like I lost a fight with a bobcat. I feel like I lost a fight with the devil and only won on points. At 3:12 p.m. on the second day, Agent Delgado knocks once and walks in with a thick file and a face that says she hasn't slept either. She's talking, Delgado says without greeting. Claire, rolled on everyone but the Belarus chemist. Marcus Reed, the insurance broker, 2 board, members who knew about the offshore accounts. We've got 12 indictments going out by sundown. I nod. Good. Delgado hesitates. There's something else. Someone else wants to talk to you. Claims she has information that changes the entire motive. She? Delgado steps aside. A woman I've never seen before walks in. Mid-40s, expensive blonde highlights going brassy at the roots. Eyes red from crying or no sleep. Probably both. She's wearing a visitor badge that reads M. Reed, Marcus Reed's wife. Mr. Morrison, she says, voice hoarse. I'm Melanie Reed. I don't offer my hand. Marcus tried to help murder my son for 8% of a company that's about to be seized by the feds. Say what you came to say. She flinches but doesn't back down. I've known Claire since Yale, she says. We were sorority sisters. She was the smart one, I was the pretty one. That's what the boys used to say. But Claire always played longer games than the rest of us. She sets a small velvet box on the rolling tray. Open it. I do. Inside is a diamond engagement ring, at least 3 carats, platinum band. Perfect clarity. The kind of ring that costs more than most people's yearly salary. Marcus gave this to Claire 6 months ago, Melanie says. Told me it was for a client's wife. I believed him because I wanted to. But after the arrest, I went through his phone while he was in holding. There are texts, hundreds, from before she even married David. She pulls out her own phone, scrolls, hands it to me. The screen shows a thread going back 9 years. Claire, 2016. He's perfect. Old family money, only child. Trusting to a fault. Give me 2 years to get inside, 5 more to get pregnant, then we cash out. Marcus, 2016. You're insane. Claire, I'm patient. Another text, 20 to 20. The week before Claire and David's wedding. Claire. Ring is insured for $185K. Once we're married, I'll lose it. Collect. Buy us the place in Napa. You in? Marcus. Always. I feel the room tilt. Melanie keeps talking. She never loved David. She targeted him. Spent a year making sure their meet cute happened at that charity auction. Studied him like a dissertation. Knew about the trust. The insurance his parents made him take out at 25. The succession rules his grandfather wrote into the company charter. All of it. She wipes her eyes with a trembling hand. I stayed quiet because I was ashamed. My husband chose her over me, over our kids. But when I heard David woke up, I couldn't carry it anymore. Delgado clears her throat. Mrs. Reed is willing to testify. In exchange, we're offering Marcus a reduced sentence if he flips too. The U.S. attorney's already drafting. I look at the ring again, then at David, sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks. Claire didn't just want money, I say slowly. She wanted to erase us. Take everything the Morrison name built and salt the earth so nothing grew again? Melanie nods. There's more in the box. Under the cushion is a flash drive. Audio, she says. Claire recorded everything, insurance policy for herself. Marcus kept a copy. It's bad. She talks about Emma like an inconvenience that needed to be managed. I close the box. Agent Delgado, when Claire hears Melanie is testifying, what will she do? Delgado's smile is thin and sharp. She'll try to cut a deal, plea, and she'll fail, because we're adding kidnapping, conspiracy, and child endangerment to the list. Life without parole is now on the table. Melanie looks at David, eyes filling again. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him Marcus is sorry. We were weak. He was good. He didn't deserve any of this. She leaves without waiting for absolution. Delgado lingers. She's not the only one coming forward, she says. 2 board members already lawyered up and started singing. Your daughter-in-law built a house of cards on greed and ego. Wind just shifted. I nod. When David's strong enough, play him the recordings. Every word. She pauses at the door. One more thing. Claire's maternal grandmother just died. Left her a trust, $14 million, payable only if Claire has no living spouse and no minor children. She was accelerating everything because the clock was about to run out. 14 million reasons to orphan my granddaughter. I look at David. The bruises under his eyes are fading. His grip, when physical therapy makes him squeeze the rubber ball, is almost strong enough to hurt. Tell the U.S. attorney, I say quietly, that when Claire realizes the money's gone forever, she'll finally understand what loss feels like. Delgado leaves. I pull the chair closer to the bed, rest my forehead on the rail. David's fingers find mine in the dark, weak but deliberate. He squeezes twice. I squeeze back once. Outside the window, snow starts to fall, soft and silent, covering the hospital grounds like forgiveness nobody in this story has earned yet. But we're getting there. They moved David to a regular room on the cardiac floor the morning of November 9th. No more tubes down his throat, no more deputies at the door. Just a heart monitor that beeps slow and steady, and a window that looks out over the snow-dusted cornfields he used to run through as a boy. He's awake more than he's asleep now. Physical therapy comes twice a day. The first time he stood on his own, legs shaking like a newborn colt, he looked at me and said, I remember the tea tasting bitter. That was all. Then he cried for 10 minutes while I held him like he was 8 years old again. At 10:17 a.m., Agent Delgado arrives with a federal marshal and a laptop. Time he heard the whole story, she says gently, from the beginning. David is propped up on pillows, pale but clear-eyed. He nods once. He's ready. We close the blinds. Katie brings extra chairs and then quietly leaves, squeezing David's shoulder on her way out. Delgado starts the first recording. Claire's voice, laughing, 9 years old. He's perfect. Old family money, only child. Trusting to a fault. Give me 2 years to get inside. 5 more to get pregnant. Then we cash out. David's face doesn't change, but his heart rate jumps to 112. I rest my hand on his arm. The next clip is from the night of their engagement party. Claire to Marcus. Ring is insured for $185K. I'll lose it next summer. Buy us the place in Napa. You in? Marcus. Always. Another clip. 2 years ago, the week Emma was born. Claire, get the postpartum depression paperwork ready. If anything goes wrong, we say David was despondent. Thallium looks like suicide if you stage it right. David makes a sound low in his throat, half sob, half growl. The last recording is from 3 weeks ago, the night before he collapsed. Claire on speakerphone with Marcus. Harvest is almost in. He's asking too many questions about the Caymans transfers. Move the timeline up. I want him gone before the board smells blood. After the funeral, I will be the tragic widow, with the beautiful little girl, and 20 million reasons to smile. The room is silent except for the heart monitor. David stares at the ceiling for a long time. Then he turns to me. She never loved me at all. No, I say. She loved what she thought she could take from you. He closes his eyes. Tears slide into his hair. I want to see her, he says finally. Delgado and I exchange a look. That can be arranged, she says, but only if you're sure. I'm sure. 2 days later, they wheel him into the federal courthouse in Des Moines. He's still weak, IV pole rolling beside the chair, but his eyes are steady. Claire is brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit and shackles. The smugness is gone. Her hair is flat, face bare of makeup, eyes hollow. When she sees David alive and sitting upright, something in her fractures. You can actually watch it happen. The prosecutor lets David speak first. He looks straight at her. I remember every cup of tea you ever handed me, he says, voice hoarse from disuse but strong. I remember you kissing my cheek and telling me you added honey because I'd been working too hard. I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. Claire won't meet his eyes. I remember waking up in that hospital bed wondering why my wife hadn't visited once. Wondering why my daughter's drawings weren't on the wall. And I remember my father's voice telling me I was safe. He leans forward. You tried to murder me for money you thought I didn't know how to protect. You tried to murder the father of your child because he was inconvenient to your timeline. You lost, Claire, not because we were smarter, because we were loved, and you never understood the difference. The courtroom is silent. Claire finally looks up. For 1 second, I think she might say she's sorry. Instead, she whispers, You were supposed to die quietly. David smiles. It's small and terrible and perfect. I know. The prosecutor rests. That afternoon, the U.S. attorney files the superseding indictment. Conspiracy to commit murder for hire. Attempted murder, 2 counts. Wire fraud, mail fraud, securities fraud, conspiracy to kidnap a minor use of interstate facilities, in commission of murder for hire, 11 counts of money laundering. Maximum penalty on the top count alone. Life without parole. Claire's attorneys try to plea her down to 20 years. The prosecutor laughs them out of the room. November 23rd. David is discharged. We drive home to the lake house in silence, snow falling thick and soft. Emma is waiting on the porch with Katie, who has officially taken family leave to help with recovery. Emma runs to the truck before I've even parked, throws herself at David's legs, screaming, Daddy! Like she's been saving it for years. He lifts her with arms that still shake and buries his face in her hair. I watch from the driver's seat and let myself cry, for the first time since the night this started. That night, we sit by the fire. David holds the ledger Melanie Reed gave us. He turns the pages slowly, reading every line of Claire's cold accounting. When he reaches the last entry, the one about sending Emma to Switzerland, he closes the book and looks at me. "Burn it," he says. I do. We watch the pages curl and blacken until nothing is left but ash. Later, after Emma is asleep and Katie has gone home, David pours 2 fingers of Pappy into jelly jars — the good glasses are still in the house Claire will never see again — and hands me one. "I owe you my life," he says. "You owe me nothing," I tell him. "You're my son." He clinks his jar against mine. "To never drinking tea again." We drink. Outside, the snow keeps falling, covering the world new and clean. The trial starts on a raw Monday in March, the kind of day the wind forgets to stop blowing. Federal courthouse in Des Moines, courtroom 3B packed so tight the marshals have to turn people away. Half the town drove in. Farmers in clean Carhartts, nurses still wearing their badges, reporters from 3 states. They all want to see Claire Lang Morrison finally answer for what she did. David insists on being there every single day. He's still thin, still tires fast, but he walks in on his own 2 feet. Emma's hand in his left, my arm under his right, when the corridors feel too long. Katie sits behind us in the gallery, close enough to reach out and steady him if he needs it. We have become a quiet, unbreakable unit. Claire sits at the defense table in clothes that cost more than most people's rent, hair and makeup perfect again, but the performance is over. Every time the door opens, she flinches, waiting for the next witness who once called her friend. The prosecution calls 37 witnesses. I am number 38. When they swear me in, I look straight at Claire. She finally meets my eyes, and I see it, the knowledge that she has already lost. The prosecutor, a quiet woman from Chicago named Patel, no relation to David's doctor, walks me through every piece of evidence we gathered. The thallium vial Harlan delivered, the ledger, the safe deposit box, the audio files, the forged insurance physical. The cut brake line on David's car that the FBI lab confirmed was sliced with surgical-grade shears traced to Marcus's golf bag. Then she asked the question I've waited 6 months to answer out loud. "Chief Morrison, in your professional opinion, after 32 years investigating homicides, was there any doubt in your mind that Claire Lang Morrison intended to murder your son and granddaughter for financial gain?" "None," I say. My voice doesn't shake. "She planned it for 9 years, executed it over 6 months, and only failed because people who still believe in right and wrong refuse to stay quiet." Claire's lead attorney objects. Overruled. Patel turns to the jury. No further questions. Cross-examination is brutal, but expected. They paint me as a bitter father-in-law who never liked his son's wife. They bring up the night at the grain elevator, accuse me of entrapment, of excessive force, of being a vigilante with a badge I no longer carry. I answer every question the same way. I'm a father. I did what fathers do. The jury is out for 94 minutes. When they file back in, Claire stands. Her knees are shaking. I've never seen that before. Guilty on all 29 counts. The judge denies bail pending sentencing. Marshals cuff her in open court. She doesn't fight. She just looks at David one last time. He stands up, slowly, deliberately. "I forgive you," he says, loud enough for the microphones to catch. "Not for your sake. For mine, and for Emma's. We're done carrying you." The courtroom goes still. Claire's face crumples. Not from remorse, from the realization that the one thing she can never buy, steal, or fake is the love she tried to kill. They lead her away. Outside on the courthouse steps, the snow has turned to cold spring rain. Reporters shout questions. David ignores them, pulls Emma onto his hip, and looks at me. "Let's go home, Dad." We drive back to the lake house with the windows down and the radio off. Emma falls asleep in her booster between us, thumb in mouth like she hasn't done since she was 3. David speaks once, quietly. I used to think the company was my legacy. Turns out it was always you. I reach over and squeeze his shoulder. You're mine, I say. That's enough. That night, we sit on the porch wrapped in the same blanket Ellen used to steal from me on autumn evenings. The loons are back on the lake, calling across the dark water like they're welcoming us home. David leans, his head against my arm the way he did when he was small enough to fit there. I'm selling the company, he says. The Tokyo deal closed last week. Clean money. We'll start a foundation instead, for kids whose parents try to hurt them and don't succeed. Call it the Ellen Morrison Fund. I nod, throat tight. Ellen would like that. He smiles, the first real one I've seen since before the poisoning. She'd like this too, he says, gesturing at the three of us on the porch. Me, him, Emma, asleep against his chest. Inside, the fireplace crackles. Katie's humming drifts from the kitchen where she's making cocoa the old way, with real milk and too much sugar. The machines are long gone. No more beeps counting down. Just the sound of a family breathing the same air, under the same roof, safe. I close my eyes and let the rain on the tin roof say what I don't have words for. It's over. We won. October again, 1 year to the day since David collapsed at his desk. The lake is glass this morning, sky so blue it hurts to look at. I'm on the porch with coffee gone cold in my hand, watching Emma chase a red leaf across the grass, while David and Katie try to teach the new puppy not to chew the Adirondack chairs. The dog is losing, so are they. Laughter keeps rolling across the water like church bells. David is 40 now, but he moves like a man who's been given a second birthday. The thallium left its marks. A tremor in his left hand when he's tired. A faint silver scar at the base of his throat, where the central line lived too long. He calls them his souvenirs. Says they remind him every morning that he gets to wake up. The company sold in June for $212 million clean. The Ellen Morrison Foundation opened its doors 3 weeks ago in the old grain warehouse downtown. Renovated, bright, safe. First, 12 kids moved in last week. Children the courts took from parents who tried to do worse than Claire ever managed. David spends 3 days a week there. Emma spends every Saturday helping, which mostly means reading picture books to toddlers and sneaking them extra cookies. Claire was sentenced in July, life, no parole, FCI Dublin in California. The judge read the verdict without emotion. Claire didn't cry. She just stared straight ahead like she was watching someone else's life end. The last time David saw her was the day he forgave her on the courthouse steps. He hasn't spoken her name since. Marcus took a plea. 22 years. Melanie kept the house and the kids and the ring Claire never got to lose. She sent us a Christmas card last year, a photo of her boys on a beach, smiling like the weight of the world had finally rolled off their shoulders. We sent one back. Harlan Weeks retired to Florida, with his wife's cancer in remission, bought a little place on the Gulf with the reward money the foundation quietly sent him. He calls every few months, voice thick with salt air and gratitude, just to say the fish are biting and the sunsets are free. Katie moved into the guest room over the garage last winter, temporarily. That was 14 months ago. Her toothbrush has its own spot in the bathroom now. Emma calls her Auntie Kay without thinking about it. David blushes when I catch them holding hands on the dock at dusk, like teenagers who think nobody's watching. I pretend not to notice. Some things a father doesn't need to tease. The puppy finally wins the battle with the chair leg and trots over to drop a mangled stick at my feet. I throw it long. Emma squeals and races after him. David follows, laughing, steady on his feet, sun in his hair the same way it was when he was 6 and believed the world was kind. I stay on the porch and let the moment settle into my bones. There's a small plaque on the fireplace mantel inside. Simple bronze, no bigger than a postcard. David had it made the day the foundation opened. For Ellen Morrison, who taught us that love is stronger than poison, and for William Morrison, who proved it. I don't go look at it much. I don't need to. I live it every day. The wind shifts. carrying the smell of wood smoke and fallen leaves. David waves from the yard, motions me down. Emma is holding up on his shoulders now, arms out like an airplane, fearless. I set the cold coffee on the rail and walk toward them, slow, knees complaining but obedient. David meets me halfway, Emma still perched high. "Dad," he says, eyes shining the way they haven't since he was small, "come help us build the first snowman of the season. It's only October, but Emma swears the clouds are practicing." I look at my son, alive, laughing, whole, and at my granddaughter reaching for the sky like nothing bad ever happened. Then I take off my jacket, roll up my sleeves, and kneel in the cold grass and start packing the first snowball. Because some things are worth getting your hands freezing for. Because some victories aren't loud. They're quiet mornings and red leaves and a little girl's laugh echoing across water that finally belongs to us again. Because the story that started with a silent alarm in an ICU beeping in the dark ends exactly where it should. With 3 generations of Morrisons and 1 borrowed puppy, building a snowman out of the first fragile flakes of a long-forgiven winter, and no machines counting down, just heartbeats, steady, strong, forever.